welcome back to another video on MaizePlus, and today we are going to have a look at Grasswork with MaizePlus enabled. This is one of the areas which changes the gameplay quite a lot, and the first key change to have a look at is that you now have 4 possible states for grass, unlike the base game 2. With MaizePlus added in, we have fresh grass, which is this texture in front of us. We have conditioned grass, which is this one. We have semi-dry grass, which is this here, and then we have hay, which is this here. So fresh grass and conditioned grass come from mowing, depending on whether you have the conditioner enabled, and I'll show you that in a moment. And then semi-dry and hay come from tedding. So fresh grass can be used to feed your cows, and it actually covers quite a lot of the cows' feed needs, and I'll show you that in the specific video on cow feeding, and that can then either be baled into silage or tedded to conditioned semi-dry or hay. Fresh grass cannot be tipped into a bunker silo and needs to be conditioned first into conditioned or semi-dry grass. So first thing we're going to do is have a look at tedding, and then we'll have a look at the mowing and conditioning, and then we'll go into making some grass silage. So let's jump in the tractor, and we have our tedder on the back. And tedding with MaizePlus, unlike in FS19, in FS22 is controlled manually and is usable selected using the Y key. So we have a number of options, and you'll see them change as I press it. We have base game, and what base game will do, will take conditioned grass, so the second option up there, and turn it straight to hay. So if you want base game behavior, mow with the mower conditioner enabled, and then select base game behavior, and you'll go from conditioned grass straight to hay. You can then select each stage, so you can go to conditioned grass, you can go to semi-dry grass, or you can go to hay. So you could go straight from fresh grass to hay if you wanted. And the other thing you can do is, if you're role playing, for example, you could go backwards from semi-dry to conditioned to simulate maybe that it had rained and your grass needed tedding again to produce hay. So let's just have a quick look at that in action. So we have on the ground here fresh grass. So if I select base game behavior, then nothing will happen, because the base game one only works with conditioned grass and takes it to hay. If we go for conditioned, we can ted that and we get conditioned grass. So if you had cut your grass as fresh grass and you wanted to tip it into a bunker silo, you would want to do this. If we lift up and we select semi-dry, I'm just going to back up so you can see this working on the conditioned grass as well. And if we lower down, you'll see that it turns the conditioned grass into semi-dry grass, but it also turns the fresh grass into semi-dry grass. And then the last option, hay, again, if I pick up, it will turn whichever state of grass is on the ground into hay. So we can go from semi-dry to hay, or we can go from fresh to hay, or if it was conditioned grass, we could go to hay as well. So just jumping into the big M, if we open the F1 menu, you'll see that with the Z key we have the option for with conditioner or without conditioner. So if I switch this on and do some mowing, once the rear mowers drop, so without conditioning we get fresh grass, and then if I enable conditioning we get conditioned grass. Kind of makes sense. So if you want to make silage, then fresh, conditioned or semi-dry grass can all be baled to make silage, and they can be picked up with a loading wagon. If you want to use a loading wagon, I would use conditioned grass, because then silage additive will work. Hay can be baled as normal. If you want to use a forage harvester to do your grass work, if you're using a pickup header, that will work with fresh or conditioned grass and will make use of silage additive. If you are using a direct disc, this will give you conditioned grass and does also use silage additive. And so if I quickly jump in here, we'll be able to just show you a little bit of mowing with the direct disc, and we are getting conditioned grass in the trailer, and we are using up some silage additive, and I'll show you that in a moment. And getting some conditioned grass is useful because I can then show you the last step in this process, which is to tip some of this into a bunker silo. As I said, if you want to bale your grass for silage, then you can either use fresh conditioned or semi-dry. If you want to tip it into a clamp, then you cannot use fresh grass. But we have some conditioned grass here, and this is enough just to show you as an example. So if we run back over to the yard where we have a clamp ready, so these clamps are from the MaizePlus pack. They are included in the mod. There are two sizes. There are these which are the slightly larger ones, and there are some smaller ones as well. And yeah, this behaves exactly like any other kind of silage that you might want to do. So just tip it in and compact it, and then cover it and wait a month, and you'll have grass silage. And I will cover uses for grass silage in these specific videos on animal feeding. And also, if you've got a biogas plant, then that grass silage will be added to that as well as an input. Didn't have a silage compactor handy, so just using the trailer because that works quite well for such small amounts. So if we just get this covered, I will very quickly show you some silage baling, and then we'll have a look at the fermented result. So we've got the Pottinger baler wrapper combo on the back, and we've got a little bit of fresh grass and then a bunch of conditioned grass. So just going to collect this up, and you'll just see that just like in base game with grass, you get bales of grass that then need fermenting into silage. And as I said before, you can make silage bales from fresh, conditioned or semi-dry grass. Obviously, if you bale hay, you get bales of hay. You can't wrap hay in FS22 at the moment. There we go. We have our bale of grass fresh, and that is 0% fermented. So as with a pit, it will take about a month to ferment. So if we skip ahead some time, I can show you that. So it's a little while later, and here we have our bale of grass silage, and it behaves exactly like a bale of silage from grass in base game. You can take it to a sell point, take it to a BGA, or you can use it to make animal feed. And as I said, I will cover that in more detail in specific tutorials on feeding the relevant animals. And then if we jump over here, we should have our fermented grass silage. Just a little bit longer to get that fermented. And there we go, bunker silo is fermented. So just like the rest, we can open it up, and as I said, you can use it in your animal feed or sell it, or however you would like to. So that's been a run through Grasswork with MaizePlus. If you found this useful, please click the like button, it really helps me out. If you've got questions about this or anything else to do with MaizePlus, I have a playlist covering a whole load of topics on MaizePlus. There is also the MaizePlus Discord, a link for that is below, or you can leave me a comment and ask me a question and I will try and help you. And if you're not already, please consider subscribing to the channel because that really helps me out. And I will catch you next time on another MaizePlus tutorial video.